43, 44, what the heck? What? Look at this, we're catching up to the car. And the acceleration, yikes. Look at this, we're accelerating. I can easily keep up with traffic. Holy crap, this thing is nuts. This bike is an animal. Ghostcat, what have you guys done to this bike? But then it really picks up, and this is, holy crap. I think that was the fastest single motor 60 volt e-bike ever to go up that hill. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Alex from Maximum Charge. Welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, welcome. Today we are on a very special e-bike from Ghostcat, the new Ghostcat F4X. Now this isn't just any ordinary F4X, this is their updated F4X. Yes, you heard me right. They have updated the controller to give this thing even more torque. Out in California, where I tested this bike out a few months ago, I was already happy with the amount of torque that this bike had, and they decided, you know what? Let's just go ahead and add some more torque. So today we're going to be bringing this bike through all the usual tests. The 0 to 20 test, the top speed test, the long hill climb test, the steep hill climb test, the brake test, a small off-road test, all the tests. And after all that, you will know for sure if this is the right bike for you. The prices of these e-bikes are always fluctuating based on whatever sale might be going on, so to get the most up-to-date price, check the link in the description below, or just use the QR code on the screen. That'll send you straight to Ghostcat's website. And using code MAX50 will save you $50 off of your purchasing price. And I want to give a huge shout out to those of you who are using my links. You guys are the reason we get cool bikes on this channel to review. You guys really help support the channel and help support the reviews. So huge shout out and thank you to you guys. We're going to start off the review using this little device called a Draggy to get an accurate 0 to 20 time. They say in the instructions you have to aim this up at the sky so it can talk to the satellites better, so we're just going to hold it. This device talks to the satellites at a much higher frequency than your phone GPS, and sometimes the display might be inaccurate or it might not update as quickly as it should while the bike is accelerating. So from now on, we're going to be using this device to get the most accurate time. Here we go, 0 to 20 test, 3, 2, 1, go. That's 20. Draggy says 3.57 seconds. That is fast. And the acceleration, yikes. This is a totally different animal from what I tried out in California at the Ghostcat HQ. This thing, yeah, it has a little bit more pickup in the low end. Watch this. Jeez. All right, let's conserve battery life. Let's do our long hill climb test. Switch back to our speedometer. Normally, at this point, I give you guys my spiel about subscribing to the channel, checking out my socials. But sometimes these bikes are so fast, I will not have time to finish my spiel while riding up this hill, and I think this is going to be one of them. So we're just going to go for it. Here we go. Long hill climb test, throttle only. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Really fast start. Oh my goodness. We are already at 30 miles an hour. What the heck? Oh my God. Yikes, that was fast. I cannot wait to see what kind of time this bike gets compared to other bikes. As usual, let's check our free spinning wheel speed. Looks like we're getting up to 45, 46 miles an hour. All right. I haven't checked the accuracy of the speedometer to GPS speed. You can perfect that in the settings. It looks to be close enough. Here we go. Let's see how quickly we can get up to speed on our downhill speed tests. Wow. Look at that. Holy crap. Downhill speed, almost hit 45 miles an hour. This bike is an animal. Ghostcat, what have you guys done to this bike. This new programming is insane. And by the way, if you do want to get this higher torque programming on your F4X, just get in touch with customer service and they'll be able to help you out. As far as I know, all the F4X bikes that are currently in stock will come with the standard programming, but future F4X bikes will all come with this higher torque programming. Here we go, dropping off the curb. Suspension on this bike is one of the best, if not the best e-bike suspension I've ever tested. This is essentially e-moto suspension on an e-bike. It's so good. Handlebar width test, a little bit on the narrower side for the handlebars. Turning radius tests, not a whole lot. That is due to the frame design. This will not interfere with your riding, but it might make it tough to maneuver around a tight corner. Let's say you're standing and trying to maneuver this bike around some hallways. It might make it a little bit difficult. The good news is this bike is very, very light for its power, and so you can easily lift up the back end, maneuver this bike around. So this turning radius shouldn't really be an issue. This is one of the highest power to weight ratio e-bikes I've ever tested. This bike is fast, nimble, has a huge 25 amp hour 60 volt battery, which we did get excellent range on while doing our range test out in California. You guys can check that video up on the upper right hand corner of the screen. Insanely good KKE front and rear fully adjustable suspension, giant Hentak motor with steel reinforced gears, and in my opinion, this is one of the better looking e-bikes out there on the market. You can get this bike in a variety of different colors with some additional options for customization. We've arrived at our steep hill climb test. Let's see how we do. Stop at the line. 3, 2, 1, go. A little bit jumpy from the start, but then it really picks up, and this is, holy crap, 19 miles an hour going up that steepest part. Oh my goodness. And guys, I know it sounds like I'm exaggerating my expressions. I think that was the fastest single motor 60 volt e-bike ever to go up that hill. I want to say that is faster than some 72 volt e-bikes that I've tested going up this hill. That is an insane amount of torque for this bike. I cannot wait to test this bike out on the steep grassy hill of doom. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be testing this bike on that hill. And before we move on to the rest of our testing, let's head back into the MCHQ and take a look at the specs and components of this bike. Let's take a look at the specs and components of the new ghostcat F4X with the Beast Mode tune. Let's start at the top. Very nice feeling rubber handlebar grips, XOD branded hydraulic disc brake levers. The left side is actually the rear brake and the right side is the front. Nice looking minimalist control panel. And here is what the display looks like when you turn it on. You get that ghostcat logo. On the display you can see everything you need from voltage, your speedometer, wattage output while you're riding the bike, pedal assist level, trip meter, odometer, max speed, average speed, time the bike has been on, and back to trip meter. This is the phone mount I use, the Gub phone mount, link in the description. This thing is amazing. And this bike has a full twist throttle. And look at that, you even get some ghostcat branding on the handlebar grips. No shifter on this bike because we only have a single gear. The handlebars on this bike do have a small rise to them, and there is a small stem riser installed as well. For a front headlight, we get this Star Union branded, looks like tri-LED headlight. And this light is actually fairly bright, and I think it looks fantastic as well. It does match the aesthetic of the whole bike. And here's what the rear tail light looks like, and it does function as a brake light. I do like that ghostcat did include this front faceplate with their logo, of course. It does hide a lot of the cabling that runs up and down the fork. And so this is going to give the bike a very clean appearance, and it is held in right over here at 4 different points with reusable zip ties, so you can easily take this thing off if you want. For fenders, we get a dirt bike style front plastic fender and a smaller plastic fender in the back. Laura really wants to get in this video. Laura, do you want to get in the video? Okay, let's give you a treat. You want a treat? Okay, over here, sit, paw, other paw. No, not down. Sit. Sit. Spin. Here you go. And having a shorter fender in the back is okay because the frame and the seat itself do extend well over the rear wheel. So this will help protect you from any kind of splashing from the wheel. The fork on this bike is insanely good. It is a KKE front fork. Tons of travel in this fork. The suspension on this e-bike overall is one of the highlights of this bike. This is an inverted front fork. ghostcat branding on the side. Here's our compression and lockout adjustment, and underneath is the rebound adjustment. KKE suspension in the back, which has an insane amount of travel. It is fully adjustable in 3 different spots. You get your rebound adjustment here, you get your compression adjustment down here, and you can tighten or loosen the preload of the shock by turning this right here. This bike comes with 20 by 4 inch size wheels, and currently we have the CST Scout tires on this bike, which are more street treaded. I wouldn't really off-road on these too much, although your bike might come with the Maxxis off-road tires, which I did test out in California near the ghostcat HQ, and those did phenomenally both on the road and off-roading. So future batches of this bike will come with those tires. Check out these brake rotors. These are massive 203mm rotors, and it does look like they are on the thicker side as well, with humongous red quad piston calipers. These are very, very good brakes. And you get the same setup in the back. You get a very long kickstand in the back, which is adjustable. This kickstand does have some rattle. Some people might just take it off. You can bungee it up to the back over here if you don't want it to rattle around, if you're doing a lot of off-roading and riding around on bumpy terrain. This bike comes with a very, I would say, lightweight but durable aluminum frame. The frame actually has a bunch of different mounting points. So 2 right here, 2 back here in the swing arm, and then 2 over here in the rear. So in theory, you can get a lot of different accessories for this e-bike, and I think some of them are yet to be released, so stay tuned for that. The F4X frame did get upgraded compared to the previous model. I think the battery compartment is a slightly different shape, and the dropouts back here are more durable. Look at all that reinforcement. And I think this is one of the better looking e-bikes out on the market today. It is customizable. You can get this bike in a bunch of different colors. I did see this bike in a purple color, and I gotta admit, I think that is my favorite color. It looked so good in person. I would probably buy that color if I were to buy this bike. And you can also get stickers for the side of the battery to further customize the look of your ghostcat bike. The cabling on this bike is ran externally because this is a more of a lightweight, minimalist style frame. All the cables are shrouded, and I think it looks pretty good. Everything is neatly tucked away and routed around the bike, so it doesn't look out of place, especially with the front shroud in the front. All of that is gonna give this bike a clean looking appearance. For a seat, you get a long, squishy, and comfortable bench seat. I think this seat already is pretty good, but I know a lot of you guys really like the Tapia seat that ghostcat sells for this bike. So check out the link in the description below for more info. That is a very, very good upgrade for this bike. We also have some foot pegs pre-installed in case you guys have a passenger. They have a place to put their feet. Up top, you get a small storage container for maybe your phone, keys, and wallet, and some other accessories. For a battery, you get a 25 amp hour, 60 volt battery, which actually gave us a ton of range. We got just about 30 miles of range of mixed riding, doing lots of different hill climbing. So the battery on this bike, I think, is fantastic. It is a huge upgrade from the old 52 volt, 20 amp hour battery. On this side of the battery, you get the on and off switch, the charge port, and a small USB port. And for a charger, you get a 4 amp actively cooled charger. And by the way, Kevin over at Northeast Battery Systems does have a custom battery bag in the works with a very large, I think 30, 40, maybe even 50 amp hour battery that you can fit into this frame to have even more range if that's something you want. And he does have kits coming out also for the older F3 models as well. Now, if you notice the strap that sits around the battery, this battery is very big. It's actually a custom shaped battery that ghostcat had to make. So it does tend to wobble, unless you have these straps. So ghostcat has given us these straps to make sure this battery isn't gonna go anywhere. You guys are gonna get 2 of these. I only have 1 on here because for me, that's plenty. The controller sits down here, and it is actually a 60 amp controller that ghostcat has set to 55 amps. And this motor back here is a Hentak motor with steel reinforced gears. The nominal rating on this motor is 2200 watts. So a 55 amp controller times 67.5, which is the full charge of a 60 volt battery, is gonna make this motor peak at somewhere around 3700 watts. The current stock of this bike does come with the older, lower power programming in the controller. Future versions of this bike will come with the beast mode programming on the controller. I would consider this beast mode setting almost like an expert mode. You can get your controller sent out and reprogrammed with the beast mode controller programming. And I know ghostcat is working with some dealers, so you can bring your bike to the dealer and they can program the controller for you, and they won't even have to take the controller out. They're also working on an option so that you can just buy a second beast mode controller, so you don't have to wait sending your controller back, them reprogramming it, and then putting it back into your bike. If you guys can see, this bike actually has extra thick spokes in the back to make sure this wheel is super durable, because some of you guys I know like to go off-roading on these bikes, and with a big heavy hub motor, a lot of movement in the back, you're gonna need these extra thick spokes. I think this is a great upgrade that ghostcat did on their bikes. Once again, we have that single gear in the back, so no derailleur, but we do get this chain tensioner. And you get a medium to smaller size chain ring up front. The crank arms on this bike are on the shorter side, but realistically, you're not really gonna be pedaling a bike like this. And for pedals, we get basic metal pedals. Something that I really like about this bike is that it actually has the weight of a normal e-bike. Some of these high-powered e-bikes are insanely heavy, well over 100 pounds. This is actually nice and light. It is around 80 something pounds. I'll throw up on the screen what I weighed this bike in at, but when you move this thing around, when you ride it, it does feel playful and fun. It doesn't feel like a big heavy motorcycle. It still feels like an e-bike. And by the way, as of mid-August, these bikes are in stock, ready to ship. Just buy the bike, they'll ship it out right away, and it'll probably get to your house within a week or so. Let's take a look at the advanced display settings. So hold the plus and minus buttons to get into the advanced settings. It is going to ask you for a password, which you can get from customer service. Once you put the password in, you can adjust things like your wheel size, which will make your speedometer more or less accurate. Here you can adjust the speed limit. We set ours all the way up, which is 50 miles an hour. Screen brightness, voltage, don't touch that. Advanced setting. We set our current limit all the way up to 60. Doesn't matter if you do 60 or 55, it's going to be the same thing. Power set is how many levels of pedal assist you want. Don't touch any of this other stuff. How long the bike will stay on if you're not using it. Mile an hour or kilometer an hour. Change the password, factory reset. Some display settings over here. You can reset your trip meter, and then we can exit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the review ride. Let's continue on with our testing. Moving on to our 20 mile an hour brake test. And before we do this test, I just want to practice with the brakes, because on previous versions of this bike, the brakes are so strong, the rear wheel likes to lift up. So I'm gonna just do some practice runs. The front brake is on the right hand side, so you just have to be careful with that. Rear brake is on the left. Yeah, so strong, guys. Crazy strong brakes. Okay, I think I got it. I'm trying to shift my weight back a bit to prevent myself from going over the handlebars. We're gonna use the parking spot lines to test the brake distance of this bike. Get to 20 miles an hour and brake. Wow. Well, this bike stops fantastically. Fantastically? Is that a word? This bike has great stopping power. So I am usually happy if we stop within 2 parking spots, and this bike stopped just at the beginning of the second spot. For me, that's a good score. And that is to be expected from the brakes on this bike. These are massive, and I'm not kidding, huge calipers with 203 millimeter rotors, and these rotors are on the thicker side. That means they will likely not get as hot as some thinner rotors, causing brake fade, meaning you will always have very good, very grabby brakes anytime you need it. Let's move on. All right, we have arrived at our top speed testing site. Once all these cars clear out, we're gonna pedal up to speed and see where this bike tops off. Throttle only. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Ghost pedaling is just at about 25 miles an hour. Let's tuck down. 35, 38, 39. We're at 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. What the heck? What? Look at this. We're catching up to the car. 44. Wow. All right, so that's 44 going one way. We're gonna have to turn around and test that going the other way to negate the effects of wind and elevation changes. There we go. 3, 2, 1, go. We get up to speed so fast. This is insane. Look at this. We're already at 30. Holy crap. 35, 38. Damn, this thing is fast. 40, 43, 44. What? Holding 44? All right, this is crazy. I'll tell you why this is crazy. I don't know what ghostcat did to this bike with that controller tune, but this bike not only has more acceleration, but more top speed as well. I topped this bike out at pretty much just over 40 miles an hour out on the West Coast, and now we're hitting 44 miles an hour both ways. So officially, this bike can hit 44 miles an hour on flat ground. For a 60 volt system with a geared hub motor, you guys don't understand how fast that is. I think this is the fastest single geared hub motor e-bike at 60 volts that I've ever tested. Ghostcat is definitely pushing the limits and breaking through barriers with this e-bike. Well, let's move on to our steep grassy hill area. This acceleration is insane. You gotta get used to this. If you guys are not ready for this torque, you can keep it at a lower pedal assist level and you'll get less torque. But otherwise, look at this. Instantly 30 miles an hour, unreal. And once this bike hits 40, the controller knows you're trying to go fast and you almost feel this like afterburner effect where the wheel starts to spin up even faster. So something in the controller is telling the wheel to spin faster at that higher speed. I'm pretty sure this bike is going to crush that grassy hill test. In my area of Connecticut, it is not flat. There are lots and lots of hills. And having this torque so you can have consistent speed is so helpful because a lot of other e-bikes are simply crushed when they encounter a hill. Sometimes even if they're higher power e-bikes, believe it or not, they just slow down to a crawl. Whereas this one will actually maintain higher speeds through all elevation changes. Let's see how we do behind this line of traffic. So the speed limit is 30 miles an hour and we can easily keep up with these guys. So see this hill right here coming up? Let's see how we keep up behind this line of traffic. So we're going 37, full throttle. Look at this. We're accelerating. I can easily keep up with traffic well over 35 miles an hour. This new tune has totally transformed this e-bike. Picking up speed, 38, 39, and we are going up a slight hill, 40. Wow, very, very, very impressive. All right, we have arrived at our grassy field where we're gonna give this bike a little mini off-road test. And you guys already know the suspension on this bike is amazing. Tons of travel in the back, tons of travel in the front, fully adjustable. The suspension on this bike used to be, in my opinion, the #1 highlight of the ghostcat bikes. Now, it might also be the power and the torque. All right, here we go. Yeah, so there's lots of bumps in this field. And the suspension, to no one's surprise, is just soaking it all up. Like I mentioned, the suspension on these ghostcat bikes has always been phenomenal. And doing this test does remind me of that. But now we just have so much power, we just fly. This is outrageous. All right, we have arrived at our steep, bumpy, grassy hill of doom. I gotta be careful because this bike has so much torque, I might wheelie. All right, starting at the base, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Gotta lean forwards a bit. And look at that. We're moving 5 miles an hour. Yes, we made it. 5 miles an hour going up the steep grassy hill of doom. This is the only 60 volt e-bike that's been able to do that with one motor. This thing is crazy. Let's grab my drone. Looks like the strap fell off from the battery. Let's go ahead and fix that. These straps ghostcat added because the battery is so big that it was a tiny bit unstable. So just in case, they added these straps to help with stability so the battery stays put. What goes up must come down. Testing out the brakes. They work well. The brakes on this bike have always been incredible. Almost too much stopping power. The front just grabs so hard. This bike has everything you need. Pretty good sized battery, really good brakes, amazing suspension, and now we have that torque and power to just fly through anything. Holy crap, this thing is nuts. If you guys want an e-moto alternative, this might be a good option. I'm not kidding. So the tires on this bike that I currently have are the CST Scouts, which in my opinion are more oriented for street riding. I think future versions of this bike are gonna come with the Maxxis off-road tires, which are better suited for off-road performance. This bike has so much torque, you actually have to be a little bit careful when you accelerate from pedal assist 5. If you're a lighter rider, or you're sitting back a little further on the seat, the front wheel will lift up off the ground. Let me show you guys what I mean. So check this out. So I'm stopped. I'm gonna kind of sit back on the seat. Here we go. See that? Jeez, I gotta get out of this field. Getting eaten alive by black flies. Just jumping out of nowhere, biting me all over. I was gonna take some more pictures out in this field, but I do not wanna keep getting bitten up by black flies. Let's get out of here. I think one of the protective measures on the controller that this bike has programmed in is it has some sort of a minor stutter from 0 to about 3 if you really hit the throttle hard on pedal assist 5. Let me show you guys what I mean. It's almost as if it hesitates just a tiny bit to accelerate. And I'm guessing that's some sort of protective measure to, ooh, look at that, Nissan Skyline R34. Guy's driving on the right-hand side. Sick. So let me show you guys what I mean. So 0 miles an hour, when I accelerate, a little bit of stutter. Let's do that again. Ready? See that? So it stutters a little bit. Once you're up to speed, it is totally fine. Let's say we start at 5 miles an hour. See, no stutter there. Let's do that one more time. And I felt the front wheel lift up a little bit. Man, this thing has so much torque. But from 0, oh, no stutter there. Interesting. A little bit of stutter. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but it is what it is. That sentence did not make any sense. And now for one of my favorite tests, especially on this bike, the sidewalk of doom, where of course we just obliterate any and all bumps. With the dual KKE suspension, fully adjustable, tons of travel. This thing just eats bumps like nothing. Always wear a helmet, guys. Let's talk about the pedal assist level. So currently in the settings, I have this bike set to 5 pedal assist levels. We're gonna go ahead and just use the throttle on all levels just to show you guys the difference in torque and top speed. So it seems like the lower the pedal assist level, the less torque you get and the less speed you get per level. So check this out. We're on pedal assist level 1, starting at 0, accelerate. See that? Not too bad. And we top off at about 11 miles an hour. Let's try pedal assist 2. Here we go. A little bit more torque, a little bit more top speed. Get to about 19 to 20 miles an hour, somewhere on there. Let's try pedal assist 3. Here we go. Pulling 3,000 watts on the display. Gets us to just about 29. Let's try pedal assist 4. There we go, a little bit stutter, but we are very quickly up to speed. 20. And we're topping off at, looks like about 38 miles an hour, somewhere on there. Maybe 39 because we were going up a very small hill. And of course, pedal assist 5 will give you that insane 44 mile an hour top speed. I cannot believe I'm even saying that on a 60 volt single geared hub motor e-bike. Let's do another hill climb while we have battery life. We're gonna do a long and somewhat steep hill climb test. Sometimes I throw this test in for some reviews where appropriate. And I think testing this bike on that hill is very appropriate. Let's see how we do. All right, I think we're gonna be holding at least 20 miles an hour up this whole thing. Let's see how it goes. Check this out. We're already at 30 and we're accelerating. This is crazy. All right, 28, holding 28. Dear Lord, oh my God. Oh my, what is, wow. Wow, I had to start leaning going up that hill. That's how much speed we were picking up. Unbelievable. I don't even know what to say. This thing is a freak. This bike is an animal. It was already quick to begin with, but now it's on a whole other level. If you guys have purchased the previous generation ghostcat bikes, the F2.2, the F3, the stock seat on this bike is the same as those models. You guys know that seat is already pretty good, but you can purchase an upgraded, luxurious, very plush and squishy Tapia seat for this bike, which I would highly recommend. It is a huge upgrade over this already pretty good seat. You guys are really gonna enjoy that seat quite a bit. Link to that and this bike in the description below. Again, prices are always fluctuating based on whatever sale might be happening, so to get the most up-to-date price, check the link in the description below, or just use the QR code on the screen, which will bring you straight to the ghostcat website. And again, using that link will help support these reviews at no extra cost to you, and thank you very much if you are using my links. You guys really help support the channel, and you are the reason we are getting so many of these cool, epic e-bikes to review. If I have earned your subscription, please feel free to subscribe to the channel, like the video if you like it, smash the notification bell as hard as you can so you don't miss any future videos, and let me know what you think of this new, updated F4X from ghostcat with the Beast Mode controller tune. I think that tune truly lives up to the name. It has totally transformed this bike. It has way more power, it has way more torque, it has way more top speed. This bike almost feels like it has more voltage, like it's a 72 volt e-bike, but it's not. It is a 60 volt e-bike. It's ridiculous. Let me know what you guys think about this bike. I am very curious to hear what you guys think about this bike. Leave a comment below. And that's it for today, folks. Until next time.